Your calorie counter doesn't care if you eat a Snickers bar. What is up, people? Jean Carlos here with the Total Body Training Podcast, where I help people get lean, gain muscle, and build some damn confidence. And today, we're talking about calorie counters. And specifically, we're gonna talk about MyFitnessPal. That's the one that I'm the most familiar with. And what we actually put in and calculate when we're using it. So, a while ago, when I first started Total Body Training, I used to use that a lot with clients. I used to use MyFitnessPal and I used to analyze whatever it was that the person had eaten. So I would say, all right, so we're gonna set a MyFitnessPal calorie calculator person, person A, we'll call her Mrs. Juanita. Juanita, we're gonna set a calorie counter for you at a certain amount of calories on MyFitnessPal, and all you have to do is follow this, log in your food each and every day, no matter what, and in 6 weeks, you should be losing about this amount of weight. And, a couple weeks would go by, 6 weeks would go by, I would sit down with them, I would look at what they'd eaten, and the person would say, or Juanita would say, well, I haven't lost any weight. And I would look at their calorie counter, and a really curious thing would happen. The person would have eaten all the right foods, whatever that means. I would look at their calorie counter, and they would be eating healthy carbs, sweet potato, rice, brown rice, white rice, whatever, chicken, broccoli, all the healthy foods. And they would say, I don't get it, Jean. I don't understand why I haven't lost weight. And this would happen multiple times. And I would say, okay, so is there anything that you haven't been putting down when you calorie count? Is there anything somewhere in there that you aren't writing down? And I would just kind of look at them and give them a second. And almost instantaneously, the person would say, oh yeah, I had pizza that I didn't put down and I do that a few times a week when my husband brings it home. Or oh yeah, I had a Snickers bar and I didn't put it in there. Or a millionaire bar or whatever. And almost inevitably, I always say, well, why didn't you, I understand, okay, so why didn't you put it down? Why aren't you putting down the other stuff? And for some people, the reason is that they felt a sense of embarrassment for not eating what we call healthy food. And for other people, it was more so a sense of denial, or they thought because it was just one of them, it wasn't an issue. And, the problem with this is that, for many people, what's happening is that they are engaging in something we would call secret eating. So you're eating something and you're not logging it in because you feel a sense of self-consciousness about what you're doing, maybe a sense of embarrassment, and that's completely understandable because maybe you've been struggling to lose weight for a long time, or maybe you've been struggling to lose weight for a long time, and so you associate those foods, a Snickers bar or pizza or whatever like that, with being a bad food. And that's not something that maybe you're at this time willing to accept that you're eating while you're on a nutrition plan. And the problem with this is that you can develop this deep sense of self-consciousness that never lets you actually lose the weight because you're constantly not being honest with yourself about what you're doing, and you're also developing very negative associations with certain kinds of foods. And first of all, we're not gonna go too deep into that conversation, that topic of secret eating. What I wanna tell you is that your calorie counter doesn't care if you're eating a Snickers bar or you're eating a cake. What matters when you're using something like MyFitnessPal is that your macros are relatively even and that you're meeting the exact amount of calories that you need. So let's say that you eat 2 Snickers bars and you log them into MyFitnessPal. You ate them during your lunch break. Now all of a sudden, what MyFitnessPal doesn't show any judgment. It doesn't say, Juanita, why'd you eat those Snickers bars? Or it doesn't, shame you or fat shame you. All it says is, compute less than, you have only 300 calories or whatever left in your day, and it tells you the exact amount of calories that you have left over, and it deducts that from your chart for your entire day. Because when you use something like MyFitnessPal, it gives you a macros chart, a graph, a little circle with your fats, your proteins, and your carbs, right? And so more than likely what's gonna happen if you eat something like the Snickers bars is that your carbs, because it's got a lot of sugar, let's be honest, your carbs are going to be cut in more than half, or maybe barely any, because they are pretty high in sugars. So all that means is that for the rest of the day, you just have to make sure you log everything else in and that you meet the caloric needs and the macro needs for your entire day. And that means that maybe you won't be able to have that the extra helping of sweet potatoes or brown rice with your dinner, because for lunch you ate that Snickers bar, right? That's all it means. As long as you don't have that extra helping, logging it in I should back up and say that logging it in works to your advantage because it tells you what you need to do for the rest of your meals throughout that day. It doesn't care if it was a healthy or a non-healthy food, a bad food, whatever that means, or a good food. All it does is adjust it according to what you need in order to continue to lose weight. That's what a calorie counter is there for. So please, I urge you, if you're using MyFitnessPal and you're not seeing progress, it could be because you're just not willing to put down what you're actually eating throughout your day. And, again, if you put down the Snickers bar, don't worry about it. Just don't fall into the, oh, woe is me, I'm gonna eat whatever for the rest of the day process. Just say, all right, I had that Snickers bar, what's the damage? What can I not eat for the rest of the day? And then just continue to eat the food and continue to eat the amount of calories that you need to eat for your day, log them in, and you'll still lose weight. Yes, you can still lose weight even if you're eating something that's unhealthy. All right, people, thank you so much for tuning in to the Total Body Training Podcast. Until next time, peace.